I'm not going to beat around the bush. This team right here, Mika, Tressa, and Hugo, is, in my opinion, the strongest team in the game right now, at least out of the ones I've played. So we are going to jump into it. I kind of want to talk about it a bit more. Really quickly, though, before we jump into it, I just want to kind of talk about sponsorships and how I plan to handle them. This is not a sponsored video, don't worry. But, you know, there were just like a couple negative comments like on the last video and stuff like that, which is like fine. So first thing I want to say, if you don't take away anything else from this, is that if me doing some ads for Raid Shadow Legends upsets you, then that is justified. You are allowed to not like in-baked ads. I don't really like in-baked ads that much myself. When I'm watching someone's content, I usually just skip through them. So like I don't think like you're wrong if it bugs you, right? And two, I do still intend to take like sponsorships in the future, right? I have a full-time job that I do, and this is my side gig that I've been working on. But ideally, being able to transition to doing this full time would require doing sponsorship. So I kind of consider it a path to that direction where it'll allow me to save up some money and, you know, maybe become more experienced in the whole business side of the content creation stuff. Because at the end of the day, I wouldn't be able to do it off views alone, not where I'm at. So it's something that I am intending to do again in the future if opportunities come up. But again, my idea is like, I didn't have my whole channel be a Raid Shadow Legends channel, right? I had agreed to do 2 videos in a month and then 4 ads. And I honestly don't think it was that, like, it didn't like take over the channel kind of thing. Yeah, there were some ads, but like, that's why I also had it, you know, do you hate Raid Shadow Legends? I was trying to make it a little bit funny, but most of you guys probably don't even care about that. But I'm just saying, I probably do intend to take it. So more sponsorships. You shouldn't see anything for the next couple of weeks. I don't have anything lined up, but hopefully it doesn't bug you too much. I do intend every time I take a sponsorship to give a little bit of charity, a little bit back to the community, then pay the taxes, and then, you know, put the rest of it basically in savings or directly into a game that I'm playing or like some new equipment. It's not just going to buy me Pizza Hut, right? It is money that I take more seriously than my normal income, where I'm like, all right, this money was given to me for a purpose and it should serve that purpose. But, you know, whatever. I just felt like bringing it up because now that I'm done with that sponsorship right now, that I felt like I should at least just talk about it a little bit. But with that all said and out of the way, we are going to talk about CZN. And honestly, I didn't get to play the last day or two because I've been out of town. But when I did play like 3 days ago, and I'm playing again today, but this team absolutely destroyed. I mean, I was avoiding using this team for a couple reasons. One, my co-host of the podcast 16-Bit Bear uses this team a lot, and also Vulcan uses this team a lot, right? So I'm like, all right, there's already content creators really using this team all the time, so I was specifically not using it. And I did level 10 here maybe 6-7 times when I was just failing. Like, I would get close, I'd maybe get to the last boss, maybe I'd get to a random fight a little bit before the last boss, you know, one of those like not quite at the end, but like the normal fight where it's like the guy that summons a bunch of dudes, and I'd get there and I would lose. And I used all kinds of teams, right? I mean, I wasn't using Calipe just because she's, you know, Kelpie's kind of a character that I use too much, but I am going to bring her back in now. But I was using like Renoa teams and Beryl teams and Owen teams. I even tried some Lucas Maylin teams and Ray Maylin, and I used Veronica a lot. So and like Cassius, I was using like a lot of characters, a lot of combinations of characters. And I even did one with Tressa and I won, and I used Owen instead of Hugo. But then I actually ran Mika, Tressa, Hugo, and I am not joking. It was the biggest curb stomp that I've ever had in this game doing like the higher level content. I mean, I didn't even struggle. I didn't do it on stream. I was just playing the game casually. But I mean, I smashed the game. Every fight, just like some of the early fights were a little bit sketchy, especially early elites, like can be a little bit difficult. And I didn't even get a super high roll. All right, I want to clarify, I did not get a super high roll. If we look at the save data that I actually got here, It's not this one, all right? This is one that I got in a different run. But it would be something like, all right, extra damage per agony, and you know, this card never got an epiphany. I actually got this after the final fight. And then this one has some curse on it. This makes a shadow dagger. Yeah, these are cool. Are they super high roll? Probably not. And then the Hugo was like not that much better, honestly. It was just kind of like, you know, yeah, I got some quick shellings, but like the point is none of these are like absolutely godly decks in general, right? And even though it wasn't necessarily a godly deck, I mean, I'm telling you, I curb stomped it. I mean, I didn't struggle on the final boss at all. It wasn't even close. Like I probably could have skipped like 2 turns versus the final boss and still won. That's how strong the team is together. So, I mean, you guys probably already know this because you've been playing the game. But if you have Mika, Tressa, and Hugo, this team is absurd. And out of all the, I mean, I've played Kalipe, Mika, and Haru, not nearly as strong as this team, not nearly as powerful. So what makes this team so good? So first, Mika is probably the best character in the game straight up, right? I mean, Mika is arguably the best character in the game. There are cases to be made for like a Mei Lin and a, honestly, I think Tressa and maybe like a Kalipe, a Kelpie, but I think Mika is currently probably the best character in the game for Chaos because she's like so irreplaceable. And she's very, very synergistic with Hugo. So the team works just because of the hyper synergy. I think the power level of the individual characters are good. Tressa is very powerful. You could even run an Owen instead of Hugo, and Tressa will get the job done. Mika is just oppressively powerful. So and Hugo, I think, is very strong. I don't think he's like broken powerful, but I do think Hugo is very strong. So all of them together are very powerful, right? They're all individually powerful characters, but their synergies are just kind of bonkers. So obviously everyone synergizes with Mika in the sense that you want healing and you want AP, but she has like all of her stuff is basically skills. Like if you look at the cards she gets 1 attack, and she starts with an attack and she gets 1 more attack. Other than that, it's all skills and upgrades. And you probably just remove Whirlpool. I never get around to removing it, but basically I do. When I can. And then her ego skill puts 2 skill cards into her hand. So Hugo's whole like mechanic, right, is you're gonna, every time an upgrade card or a skilled card gets used of someone other than himself, he gets to commence the hunt. It goes up to 5 stacks, and it does increase damage for every stack up to 5, and then you lose a stack. So if you have 1 commence the hunt and he does like a follow-up attack after you attack, it'll do a little bit of damage, where if you have 5 stacks, it'll do a lot of damage, but it'll still only go down to 4. So you kind of want to go from 5 to 4, back up to 5, down to 4, back up to 5, down to 4. You typically don't want to get it up to 5 and then go 4, 3, 2, 1 because you're going to get less and less damage every hit. So you kind of want to bounce it back up. But the point is, he wants characters using skills. So Mika not only is always using skills that also generate AP, can frequently get cards that draw you cards, also heals you up, and then, of course, gives you the AP, and they're just using skills in general. But also Tressa is like the most skill-based in terms of the cards, not in terms of like how you play. Like DPS. Right, she has these dagger throws, which you can probably pretty safely remove not too late into the run. They're not top priority, but they're not super good. But then Unsheath Dagger is a skill that generates 2 attacks. Curse is a skill. Shadow Reload is a skill that generates attacks. And then Curse Gouge, again, another skill. So all of these characters are constantly building up his Commence the Hunt. Commence the Hunt is like always at 5, as long as you use Hunting Instincts. I mean, it's like always at 5. And even if you don't use like the Fixer's Approach or use things that give him more Commence the Hunt, it's usually like fine. If you just remove all these cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all 4 of these, you just don't get them, and you remove these 3 and you only have this Hugo card, he is going to be doing an insane amount of damage. However, there are some good things here with Quick Fix. You can make it so it just has a flat draw 2, which is obviously very good for 1, especially when it has haste. Like, his cards are pretty good, but you could theoretically remove all of them and just have the Hunting Instincts Hugo and be pretty happy, if I'm being completely honest. And then Tressa, we've already done a video on her, but she just does an absolutely absurd amount of damage. Her DPS is, sorry, the damage over time is actually kind of low early on. If you really build into it and you get a nuts build, it can go crazy. But for the most part, I don't think you're really relying on the damage over time that much. And you're mostly relying on the vital attack to deal a bunch of damage. And so you're generating skills, and then you're doing a lot of your damage with Hugo, actually, by getting his stacks up to 5 with these 0 cost cards, cheap cards. Then you're going to throw a dagger, use a skill, throw a dagger, use a skill, throw a dagger, use a skill, and you're going to be able to maintain a super high damage. So like, I don't really need to go into it too much, but we can kind of give an example fight and show you how they work. All right, so as you can see here, this is a pretty powerful Tressa build. Maybe not ideal for to showcase this fight, but it'll still be, it should still be good. So we're gonna draw that, get that out of the way now, and we're gonna just do, the first turn is just upgrades, right? So now every time we use an upgrade or any skill, he is going to get an extra stack of Commence the Hunt, and it does scale up when you have 5 stacks. So that's the whole idea, right? Like I'm sure I mentioned it in the first part of the video, where if you want to try to get the 5 stacks and then do an attack. So for which one does this give me morale? This does give me morale. So we go up to 5 stacks, and then we want to attack. And then now that we're going down to 4, ideally you want to go back up to 5. And then now that you have 5, you go down to 4. And in this situation, we're going to probably, you know, we're going to end up using it all. But we'll see if we can keep the skill going. Like right there, we will be able to. After we throw this out, we will. This will bring it down to 3, and then that'll bring it back up to 4 when we use it. And then we could use this as skill to go after an attack. I will probably go after. We could do quick scaling, but let's just do a simple. I don't know, drawing for 0. How much energy do we have? I would like to use 2 energy here, so if we can get a 1 energy card, this should be fine. Quick scaling should be fine. So let's get rid of this first, because I don't want to draw it again. And then we'll draw. We'll see if we draw another. We didn't. So now we're just gonna unload, basically, right? The Fan of Daggers is a pretty good skill. You could just kind of. It doesn't trigger his own thing, which can be good, actually. Sometimes, again, if you want to try to maintain the 5 stacks, it could be good, but don't worry. We'll start popping off here pretty soon. So this is the level 9 crab. I don't know if we're going to win, if I'm being completely honest, but I wouldn't be surprised if we did okay. Let's go ahead and draw 1 and then activate 2 random cards in hand. The vital attack on that guy, definitely not good, but I still think it's worth it to draw, I suppose. But we do get a draw here as well. That's nice. Gear bag is super powerful. At least at this stage, we'll take that, do the gear bag, give me more skills, more skills. And this is where Tressa really starts to pop off, because we have the healing thing, although we only have 2 of them equipped right now. You're already dead. You're already dead. We don't need to worry about that. So then we draw this. I should have played that first before getting too deep into it, but I think it's okay. Imagine if we got the Vital Strike on this guy. That would have been such a dream, bro. But now we're going to get to, honestly, Mika has the best. I don't always love Mika's ego skill, but in this specific team, I really, really do. Well, this is a bit of a kick in the head. I believe you've heard that phrase before. So we are going to just do this and this. And honestly, we tank the hit. It's unfortunate, but that is kind of, I don't even know how we got, I guess, yeah, when you get to the end of the deck, that just happens, I suppose. But we have a confiscation, some water. But that, again, that's why I said we might not win this fight. It's a tough fight. We could have done some pretty good stuff there, but I don't want her skill to go to waste, if that makes sense. Like, even though we could have gotten damage because we had the multiply on there. So a Fixer's Approach, this will just make him deal more damage. When we get up to 5 stacks, we should take a look at exactly how many stacks we actually get. This is draw 1 and activate 2. So we got that. And that's an... Does that do the follow-up? It did, unfortunately. Let's go ahead and let's get this up to... I don't want to get up to 5 yet. What's our last card we're drawing? We're drawing another one. You know what? Let's go ahead and just use this for now. I don't like that either. This gives me increase the damage to commence the hunt by 30%. Okay, let's do this then. Let's do this. I don't really like his ego skill that much. I don't use it all the time, but this is a good time to use it. We're going to go up to 4 stacks, which is not quite as much as I want, But if we take a look here, how much is it doing now? It's at 260% at only the 4 stacks. And we're going to use all 4 of them right here, right now. Bada bing, bada boom. Discarding discard is kind of bad if he makes us discard it. But if we don't discard it, it's actually pretty good because it gets destroyed at the end of the turn anyway. But now we're going to discard a card randomly at the start of the next turn, so we do got to keep that in mind. Be careful, Plat, be careful. Be careful, Plat, be careful. Okay, this would be a great turn. I was really confident we weren't going to draw this. But we could still, if we can get up to 6, we might be able to do it next turn. We did discard, I mean, it's arguable. That is a pretty nice card to discard most of the time. So now we're just going to start wailing into this guy, right? Like, at this point, we're just going to let Hugo do his thing. We're not going to worry about taking damage. We're not dying at this point. So our goal is, before he attacks us again, to be able to heal with this. Because we're not doing that much damage to him right now. We're doing decent damage, but not great. That was, I would say it's probably a bad draw. So when using attack cards, Fan of Daggers, unfortunately, gets the discard there. We do get to activate 2 cards. Looks like we did get the Contamination. That's pretty good. And then we will smack this guy here, draw 2. And then, okay, this is pretty good. We do that. We draw this. We draw this. Still, we should be getting 3 daggers every time. I brought it down to 2 because I didn't use the other card at the start of the turn, but it's okay. This is pretty good here because they still get the double, right? So we might actually be able to pull this one out. Not too bad. We'll see if he's able to kill us here. Well, I mean, Hugo's still going, bro. This guy just doesn't stop. He's a monster. I mean, honestly, this is probably mostly Tressa, which is why this is kind of an OP Tressa build in general. But you don't need to have Tressa this OP to make the synergy work. But the idea is the synergies do work regardless. Regardless. We do want to heal first. He's not even close to killing us. Look at this loser, bro. He's like actually not even close. We'll do... yeah, we'll do this, and we'll do this. And then we get the follow-up attack. Again, kind of a lame-ass thing, but I guess we just play, throw. We never even got an insane combo. Like, we never really went all the way popped off, where we got the curse skill plus curse plus using this and then getting more, like 1,000 daggers. Like, we actually had a very modest run at this fight, and we're definitely gonna win now. I wasn't actually expecting that we would, but yeah, we're doing totally fine here. So go ahead, give me this. I'll take some daggers. We might as well do this. It will increase the damage of our agony, and then we'll just keep seeing what we get. Here we go. Look at this. Now this is almost us popping off. We could have still done way better if we drew the cards in like a perfect order, but whatever. You know, does that matter at this point? There we go. We still had all those daggers left. So there we go. As you can see here, the team is very, very OP. And what's crazy, this is a powerful Tressa build in general, but really, we didn't even actually go all off. It's just the team is so hyper synergistic in so many ways. It's been pretty bonkers. So please use the team if you want to play the game on easy mode, or otherwise known as have fun. Have fun playing a cool ass game with a super powerful team. You don't need to, you know, I only run the game with, you know, Maribel and Amir, and that's my only team. I don't even bring a 3rd unit. I could be guilty of doing that sometimes, not playing meta teams. But damn, this one felt real. Anyway, guys, that's all for today. Much love for Platypuses per Platypus. I will see you on the flip flops. Bye.